All right, all right. Welcome to the Briar Dispatch. I'm back, I'm back, I'm back. I'm so sorry, by the way. I've kind of stalled. I've been busy. I had all this crazy stuff, but it's all for the best. I managed to get the famous Emoji Nakamoto as a editor. So the show's gonna improve by far. No more shitty sound, no more shitty quality video. I mean, so if there are any shitty things, don't blame it on him, blame it on me. There's only so much he can do. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to be working with him. I'm actually quite honored. He also does Chris Rose's stuff. And I also, if you're a content creator and watching this, I strongly recommend you reach out to him, and hey, maybe you can hire him. The guy's like fantastic. He just did a show. He did a editing for Chris on the last library LRBY. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. It's the latest YouTube video by Chris Rose. Check that out. And I guess let's start the show off. All right. So there's been all this like crazy governance issue. You know what I'm saying? So if you haven't already checked it out, you've been living under a rock. So you can check out on the Block Digest site. It looks like this. That's the thumbnail. It's the part 2 between Shinobi and Chris Rose. Fantastic interview. A little bit hostile and a little dramatic and whatnot at parts, but it's worth it. And hey, these issues are kind of, they're sensitive issues, right? So we got to kind of understand where there are their responses. It's not really easy to discuss these things, right? So I really encourage you to check that out. It's also on Chris Rose's Patreon. Check it out. And oh yeah, I gotta. There's another reason I put this. This is like the funniest comment anyway. So after the interview, Chris takes shower after show to remove Shinobi's fecal matter from his penis after a rough couple of hours. That was rough. Anyway, it's a comment. I'm sharing it. I'm not taking sides. It's all in good fun, man. You know what I'm saying? Shinobi's a great guy. He can handle it. What else? So in terms of governance. There's a lot of different things that have like appeared on the surface, and I had to include them because this issue is kind of, hey, it's starting to be acknowledged as a topic of discussion. Okay, now what kind of governance we're talking about? I mean, this is still unknown. So here's a tweet from Adam Back. I don't want to. It's not fair for me to like classify this tweet and to say exactly which side he is. You make that judgment for yourself and decide where he's leaning towards. Also, check out the Google Drive document that's here. I'm also going to put this in the link description below. I hope I don't forget. Also, in terms of governance, we got Giacomo Kuzuko. Big fight back and forth between Chris Rose. I kind of jumped in. I suggested that he come on, the Chris Rose show, man. Why not? Get them to discuss it there. He accepted. I'm really looking forward to this. It should be a fantastic discussion or debate. I don't know what I want to call it. I just hope he doesn't chicken out. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. Time will tell. This is just a little bit of, just sharing a little bit of hostility that occurred afterwards, after the document, after the interview with Shinobi and Chris, and I thought it'd be fair and just get an update between the discussions between them. So I got both of them on. Without any further ado, here is the famous Shinobi Monkey. All right, we got Shinobi, the famous Shinobi. All right, it's good to have you on the show, Shinobi. I'm glad you can make it out. All I wanted to do is hit you up a little bit, talk a little bit about the discussion you had with Chris Rose. I know it was a little while back. A few things I think have advanced in this topic, I don't know. Would you want to first of all give a little bit of a recap of what the convo was about and how it all went and your opinions and whatever else?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think like the basic gist of it was effectively I laid out and defined what I see as like the process of governing. I explained pretty clearly with like a project like core, an enclosed like internal structure for organizing things. But then when you expand that scope to the Bitcoin community in general, it's effectively just a disorganized mob. Internal structure of core to actually develop the software has absolutely zero effect on what that mob chooses to do. All they hear, we wrote this software that came out of our process, and people choose to run it now. And I see that as like a process that is undergone. We keep the Bitcoin network a cohesive thing, but in no way does that internal like process that Core as a software project follows to arrive at whatever software they choose to release for people to use is. And I think Chris's argument is that internal structure that produces software at the end of the day, overall governing mechanism of the entire mob, that there is some way in which they can actually make something. And I think the root is that I think Chris sees a governance process hearing some hierarchical structure to exist as a process, and I don't really see things that way. I think that the process that could potentially inform a process are two distinct things, and you don't require one to have the other.
Okay. All right. That's good. Yeah. Hey, this is not a debate. I just this is a rehash. Hey, I respect you know, and I see where you're coming from. I really do. Fortunately I kind of lean on towards that there is like this. It's it's hard to say using the word governance, right? I kind of hate that word in this situation, but I do lean towards the opinion that there is a kind of general pushing, or a creation of structure, one that kind of the masses kind of fall into by defect. Now, if that's exactly governance or not is a different issue, and it's as I said, it's not a debate, and I'm not going to get into that. Now, it's about 2 weeks passed by since that was recorded. I wanted to see, in your opinion, has your opinion changed at all? Has it like progressed to maybe, to any other opinion?
No, I mean I pretty much stand exactly where I did then, and to kind of maybe project a little bit about what you just said.
Okay.
Like I would call that more like social momentum.
Okay.
Than any kind of structure. It's just like this is the direction we're going, and until Wasted Chunk is able to break away in another direction and convince everybody, like as a whole, to move in that other direction, it's not really kind of a structure. It's just like the momentum behind.
The momentum behind.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Right. That's why I said I kind of, it's hard to say. The word governance just all of a sudden appears in a, and I understand why a lot of people have considered this kind of like taboo. They don't really know what to talk about governance and whatever else. Yeah. Anyway, that's all good. I hope this whole issue is going to kind of unfold a little bit more. Have you seen Adam Back's tweet? I think I sent you the link. I don't know if you got a chance to read it, where he talks a little bit about. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to include it in the description, and it looks like Adam Back is kind of leaning towards an opinion such as that there is indeed a type of governance. Now, however, like it's open to interpretation. I mean, it's a tweet, right? So I'm not going to like lay it out and be like, hey, this is what Adam Back's opinion is. I won't do that. That's not really the fair thing to do. But it looks like he's...
governance is a dirty word.
Yeah, the governance is a bad word in blockchains. Open, decentralized blockchain changes process. This side from... So anyway, there's a Google Drive document, about the matter. I don't want to go too much into it. But yeah, it's that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, see, like, that's kind of exactly where like, I'm coming from with my definition. Like, there's no real person that can just force a change.
Right.
I obviously can't speak to what he meant by social contract, but I interpret that more as, like, an equivalent of, like, that momentum. You know what I mean? Like, people have that momentum behind a certain thing, and that's kind of what people expect of things. As they come in, they kind of get behind and add momentum to that. So
right.
That's kind of the expectation of somebody who gets here. You know what I mean?
Right, but let's suppose now, like, let's say, like, in terms of noobs, right? Like, this is like, me and you, we can have this discussion, and we can say, hey, well, I'm free to, like, download this software or that software, and to us, it's a choice because we understand the network. I mean, you understand way more than I do, whatever. But I mean, for noobs, I mean, they just see Bitcoin, right? So, like, let's say, they jump on this structure, as you call it, with, like, blindly, right? Now, jumping into something that, like, blindly, I mean, it's almost like they have a confidence in the software that they downloaded, so they go with it because in terms of noobs, it's kind of like, they have trust in a governance type. Would it not kind of be interpreted like that? Can we not go like that in that sense? Because they don't really know the difference between the choices that they have, right? So they kind of like, they jump on with what is popular and what is most dominant, which is core. And I mean, that's a good thing, by the way. In no way, I just want to make the disclaimer, in no way I'm, speaking illy of core or anything like that. But do you? I don't know if I explain myself properly. Do you know what I mean? Like, with the noobs thing, like, is it not kind of like, in a way, a governance because, well, hey, trust is adopted by these newcomers, right? And they kind of like, well, I'm going to go with the flow with what you have decided for us. Do you see what I'm saying, right? Is that not a form of governance?
Kind of what I mean with the nuance and the difference between the process and, like, an actual structure that enforces anything.
Right.
If we want to be strictly, like, specific with everything, like, Bitcoin is perfectly trustless, but that's not exactly true. It's trust minimizing, and that's the entire, like, rationale behind actually running the software to validate things yourself. And I mean, like, ultimately, we could follow that rabbit hole down to, it doesn't matter if you audit the code personally down to the like, bit.
Right.
But the hardware you're running it on. I mean, like, the processors, like, the x86 instruction set, which is pretty much what most desktops use, there are flaws and undocumented instructions in that. So even if the software is completely audited, could have issues. And that's kind of like, Bitcoin is a thing that survives on a basic foundation that, like, as a foundation itself, and it only survives because of the redundancy. Some part of that foundation collapses, other parts won't, and, like, through the redundant like, duplication of everything, the network as a whole continues. But I mean, to kind of get back to, like, the noobs, like, what I mean with, like, the whole momentum of things, like, they will get into that has the greatest momentum, the greatest network effect, because the value of something, like, despite the trade-offs or costs of using it, is ultimately derived from that network effect.
Okay.
In a way, they might not understand all the technical, like, nuances of exactly how this thing works, but they're making a conscious choice to be a part of it.
To be a part of it. Right. Okay. I got you. I got you, man. As I said, it's not a argument or whatever else. But yeah, awesome, cool. Hey, I hope more of this comes out in the air, and we can discuss these matters, because now it's going on with the whole 2X. In your opinion, would governance have prevented all this whole mess?
Well, no, because the entire mess is effectively that people are trying to assert themselves as governors or as controllers of something in an environment where that doesn't exist. And that's the whole nature of the problem, and why people are so vehemently against this.
Right.
And up for something which there was no governor. There is no controlling entity or entities. There's just the people who choose to be a part of this network or don't. And that's kind of,
and just once you choose to, then that's part of the game. Right. I got you. Gotcha. All right, man.
The root of where I think they're all fucked up in the head, because all of these CEOs and these company leaders, they're coming from this mentality of to have some kind of hierarchical structure, and because they're in a place where there isn't one, thinking, well, okay, we'll step in and be that now.
Right.
To be antithetical to how this all works.
So, anyways, what do you think that Segway 2X is actually going to have some momentum? Is it really? Is it more of a scare? I mean, I know what you're hoping for, but by doing analysis, calculation, do you think that they're going to actually gain momentum?
I think the fork is probably going to happen in the sense that I know for a fact that BTCC is actually running the BTC1 client.
Okay.
Aside from them, I'm not entirely sure, but we can look historically after F2 Pool pulled out and Wang Chung did his whole trolley thing. He confirmed, factually, he did not even run that client. He took his version and patched in the BIP91 and never at any time was actually running the Segway 2X client.
Crazy.
I think what it comes down to is how much of a percentage of miners actually get behind the fork on the fork date.
Yeah, well, that's what I was referring to. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll wait and see. For all those of you who don't know who Shinobi is, you can always catch up on Block Digest. It's pretty much daily, right, Shinobi? Yeah, it's daily.
Every weekday.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Every weekday. Go on, check it out. Really good. Subscribe and follow Shinobi, Axkin, Chris Ellis, and everybody else. Hey, guy, I want to thank you very much for your time. And hey, stay in the Briar Patch, and I'll talk to you then. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Shinobi. Shinobi's great. Just a little follow up on their animosity afterwards. It's totally normal, whatever, no big deal. Oh, and this here we got Raw Old Dirty being accepted back into the Briar Patch, and he hasn't come, even though he's got the invite. Hey, it's Raw Old Dirty's fault. I mean, his loss, I guess. What can you do? Can't force the guy to come in. Anyways, here's an article from Vice that's really worth checking out. Personally, I hate Vice now. Vice used to be dope. You know what I'm saying? It was the goods. And then they just started doing the whole Democrats support kind of thing. You know what I mean? Anyway, whatever. They I was a huge fart on their part. But really good article. Some documentaries that they do are still worthwhile. But yeah, running after Obama and whatever else, with Vice now. But also, something else really worth checking out. Chris Rose did another episode, which you can find on YouTube. Really, really good. We're already at the memes part. We got a whole bunch of different Mike in Space memes that are just fantastic. All right. He's just, he's just so fun. Well, I can't say they're fun to make fun of, but, well, he's good to use. There's another one. There we go. Anyhow, Let's get back to. There's another meme here by Nate Anonymous. He started the whole pants on head trend. There you go. Here's some more memes of DeRose. More DeRose memes. This was actually a really good interview also. You could see Peter Schiff, pure farts, farting out his gold bars, you know what I'm saying? What else? Hey, I got a meme made of me. Look at that. Finally. Look at that. That's the first meme made of me yet. That's great. This is a good job. This is Mick Pickle did this one. And what else we got here? Oh yeah, Shinobi got kicked out because there's a bot. So hey, if you guys are like typing a little bit too much, too many sentences at once, I don't know, there's like a certain amount of words or sentences that you can pull up, the bot will kick you out. Don't get offended. It's just the way things are. All right, so here we got a little bit of my nosiness leading me to Sean Leary and Chris Rose. Well, kind of chatting. Here's, Chris Rose being diplomatic, being nice, asking about some fork stuff, and well, hey, Sean didn't really respond. He might have already by now, but anyway, so I guess if he's holding a grudge since the dojo, right? All because Chris Rose is a gay Nazi. Anyways, all right. What else do we have here? We got, so just a few posts by random people. Also, there was a lot of fighting going on. But before actually I get onto this, you know what? Let's play the Chris Rose clip before we finish up here and check it out. See you soon. All right. We got Chris Rose. No need for any introduction. Glad that you give me the time, Chris, to come on. And I don't know, just wanted to touch base with you on this whole governance issue. I'm not going to delve into too much of it. The reason why is I spoke with Shinobi, and that interview kind of dragged out a little bit long, so I don't want to bore, the audience with too much of this issue. So, if without further ado, I don't know, can you touch up a little bit on any advancements in this area, or if there is any?
No, I think that governance is all the rage right now. There's a couple things that came by my way. I was really surprised by. I don't remember what major company it was starting to consider governance as a responsibility. I got to look through my notes on that. But I'm seeing it even in the corporate world, I think. There's such a manic frenzy right now, and everybody wants to invest in the next thing. I think there's a growing recognition that the old way, old being 6 months ago, of declaring an idea and then expecting the money to flow in isn't sustainable. And I also think that, maybe I'm wrong, there is a growing disbelief in these oracles. And these are constant trends. They pop up, they go down, they pop up, they go down. So I looked right now, like Don Tapscott is apparently in the firing line of Laura Shin, of all people. And so if that's the case, that's going to be good for governance, because I think the governance mechanism that was proposed 6 months ago is that we let the oracles do the thinking. And that never works. And here we are, and now people are starting to wonder about that. So for me, I'm starting to hit the drumbeat a little bit more on SEC-related compliance. I think that also is going to help, which I get, everybody, wants to say, these are decentralized and whatever. But, the truth is a lot of this is just bullshit. There is actual decentralization, and then there's ICOs. And so if we're going to do this ICO thing at any capacity, I don't know how you can invest under the auspices of a unregulated environment for a centralized company, because what will happen is what happened with Tezos. So governance, I think, comes into that as well. And I'd like to see that pick up some steam. I think that some of the things I was doing prior with Bitcoin Core is picking up steam now, which is good, leading into the Segwit 2X thing. I'm hoping some of this governance stuff takes on as well, and then I'll move on to the next thing. Who knows? Or stick with it.
Great. All right, that's good enough, man. I'll be honest. The reason I actually got you on the show, I didn't really want to discuss too much of that, but I kind of wanted. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sure.
All right. Cool. We got 10 days from now. We got Segwit 2X coming, And I haven't heard anything from Chris DeRose himself. Chris DeRose has kind of, put himself aside with the technical analysis and getting into all these aspects. And I think I understand why, but I think that you have a role and a responsibility to the community at times, especially times like this when it comes to, hey, giving your opinion, voicing, because, this situation can be a little bit, we don't really know what's going to resolve it, but I think it's a pretty serious issue, and it should be discussed, and I wanted to get your side of the story on this matter.
Yeah, the risk reward on this has been so high, the ratio. There's talking about this is so political. I'll talk about Donald Trump, I'll talk about women, I will talk about a lot of things, and this I've looked at it and I'm like, man, there is a lot of risk here because everybody wants. Here's the thing: is that I think that there's a very reasonable chance of this going through, and I did a poll or two, and I think most people agree with me. That being said, if you go out there and you say hey guys, this is looking kind of very possible here, one of two things will happen. One, a bunch of people will argue their insecurities against you, because they themselves are insecure about their investment maybe, and they want to have a punching bag, which I don't even mind because I enjoy it, but I put a break in there sometimes. And then the other thing that's going to happen too is that if it doesn't happen, I'm going to have to suffer the fool after the fact, where everyone makes it as if I'm the one who proposed this as a certainty, when the reality is that I expressed it as a probable kind of thing. So I don't know exactly what's been in it for me. I can tell you this: I've talked to people behind the scenes on both sides of the spectrum. And it does appear that there's a lot of momentum here. I would probably bet on this going through, albeit by a very narrow margin. Personally, I kind of like SegWit 2X, if only because I think it does force governance out of the equation, where we can finally start to have realistic conversations about what is Bitcoin as a social construct, which, it's obviously that postmodern fucking political shit, but it just is true to me. And we can start asking what the role of work is, because I think that for me, I came here under the impression that work was what Bitcoin was. And now I see work as what the regulatory arbitrage position of Bitcoin, albeit not its identity. Meaning, if other people do the dirty work, then we can say what the rules are for those people and not necessarily incur the risk of being those people. That's my compromise. Now, my solution to all of this has been and remains, one, divest yourself from the risk that's keeping you up at night. So if you are having a hard time sleeping at night, it's making you an ordinary person. You're going to, lose family ties. You're going to lose friendships over your inability to contain your risk exposure. Sell some Bitcoin. That will always be true. The second thing that I would say is old UTXOs are going to be worth more because we don't know what's going to happen. So if you've bought into the long-term risk of Bitcoin, as most of us have, then this actually doesn't matter, because you can hold old UTXOs and you can be guaranteed to win. No matter what side happens, you're guaranteed to win if that's your long-term value proposition. So a lot of people begrudgingly resisted that solution, but I really don't know why there isn't a cogent argument that I've heard. Maybe some people have it. I've been surprised at who has been offended by that argument. And I don't even want to name some names, because it's not the people you're thinking. It's not the public people that have had the problem. It's behind doors the people that had the problem.
Okay.
And I can go into a discussion about that, but I want to keep their at least identities secret because I have good relationships with them and need to. Yeah.
Crazy. Now, do you think is there any risk? I mean, okay, so yeah, you said the old UTXOs. Apart from that, is there any other risks that we should be facing? Because there's not really too much conversation going on about this matter, and I think the reason there's not too much convo is because we don't really know. But in your opinion, is there any other risks that we're approaching in the near days once the fork happens?
Well, the thing again, the regulatory arbitrage position that is work is contingent on the ability to comply with regulation. So in the heart of all of this, and I believe the regulations are key to the whole outlook of all this stuff, is to the degree that the regulators will concede that ordering of transactions is not a liability. So I think one of the apprehensions people have had, the smarter apprehensions has been that if in this model where Core becomes a body of standard over Bitcoin, then do they absorb the liability, and has decentralization failed? That's a risk. But what I will say is that I think, and this is qualitative, I can't prove it, I think we've hit a level of acceptance in the market to where the SEC, the U.S. government, federal agencies do want to see this work in some capacity. And so I don't think that the onus will be so large on Core as a result of making and embracing an identity or standards adjustments of Bitcoin. But that's a risk, so that should get mentioned, and I get that risk. Another risk that exists, I've said this many times by now that I believe is true, is that you have people who are literally investing in decentralization. That is the cognition that they have over what they've done. So those people stand to leave.
Right.
I don't know what else to say about that, but I just don't think that was a responsible risk, and I don't think they need to have that risk. I think there are better cognitions to choose from that are available to them. That doesn't mean they were wrong. It just means that, like, as information hits the market, we mutate our views, and we either reassess the new information or we don't. And I think that they just need to reassess the new information and decide if things make sense in a slightly different capacity. Doesn't mean that you're 100% the god of decentralization as an archetype in this conflict. It does mean that there is a spectrum of decentralization in a world of nuance.
Right. Do you think that if there was even a small amount of governance applied right now, we could have probably omitted having this whole mess in the first place? Do you think governance would have prevented this? In which form of governance? I don't know. I'm just saying in general.
I think about that a lot, and it's hard for me to envision any other way this could have happened, honestly. Part of that is, like, this greater discussion of, like, determinism, and I don't want to get into. But, like, we needed to start testing these boundaries. Like, even in the early days, we had all these questions that were unanswered, and, like, what is Bitcoin was at the top of that list. And, like, I can't see Bitcoin expanding without having these basic questions answered. So we had to. Now, in a lot of ways, I know Roger Ver gets tons of animosity. It may very well be well-deserved. But in a lot of ways, in my mind, even though there were, at times, catastrophic threats to Roger Ver's decisions, I think that he gets credited for opening up this Pandora's box. And it may be a bad Pandora's box, but, like, somebody had to do it. And, like, the reasons for him to do it are long and varied and probably very bad, but he did it. And so, like, I'm actually even grateful for that, because I think that you can't have an advancement of the dialogue without, like, a testing of values.
Right.
This is one of the reasons people don't like me asking questions, is because, like, I'm testing values. And a lot of times you just have, like, conservative people that just don't like change, and I get that. And so I think that, like, I think that you need to have, like, an anti-party in order to have a party, I think, is the answer. Like, you can't have a Republican without a Democrat. You can't have an SJW without, I don't know what the opposite of SJW is, not conservative. But, like, you get the idea. And so I personally would like to see a little more balance. I don't know that we need parties in Bitcoin. I certainly don't want to be the person to suggest that, but that is what has happened. And that's probably just a maturing of the system. I have my own plans for that I will keep close to the vest at the moment, but I need to see this thing kind of develop a little bit more. And I think that these are good. I really do. I think that the price is going to probably retract as a result of shock, although you never know around here.
Right.
And that's okay, because these weak hands need to shake out. You put people on like a fishing line, and they start to run. And, like, if the price doesn't pull them back, they'll just go out to ocean, and you'll never see them again. And I don't know. This is a weird analogy, but, like, that's what I'm seeing now. So I'd like to see it be reeled in a little bit.
Great. Hey, Chris, I think that's all. I got to keep these short. So
yeah, no problem.
I'd hang out and chat with you all day, but I got to keep them short. Really well appreciated, and I'm sure I'll have you on again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Anytime. You're the best. I love being here.
All right. Good. Hey, thanks a lot, man. It was awesome to have Chris back on. I'm going to keep him around, he's always got a lot of good things to say. I'm sure he'll be back on in the next couple episodes. By the way, I forgot, we got a special guest who is going to be ending the show. Tone Vase, as you know it, Tomevase is going to be doing the market analysis, the astrological analysis of the price. You know what I'm saying? So look forward to that after the show. It's coming up in a few minutes. It's going to be really good. It's good to have Tone back on also. So let's continue going forward. There's been a lot of Twitter fighting this week. It's been like everyone's like crazy. It's kind of weird because the price is high. Usually when the price is high, it's like, you know what I mean? Everyone's like, da da da, you know? And they're all in good moods and stuff, you know? But like, I don't know, this week's been like crazy, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, there's been like this whole like Bitcoin error log and me and like Brian Trolls and should I say who? No, I'll keep that down. The whole Brian Trolls, I won't dox him. No. Anyways, so yeah, there's been just check them out yourself. It's like the long series of I think it's like 600 tweets back and forth. Really, some funny shit. You know what I'm saying? And well, here's a little bit of John insulting me, man. So apparently Chris Rose's echo chamber. So anybody that agrees with Chris Rose is all of a sudden in the echo chamber. Like that's his like, whatever. It's all good. Hey, by the way, Bitcoin Error Log just like he started a new show. I don't have the link here. Whatever, man. I fight with the guy, but like I'm not gonna like diss him either. You know what I'm saying? And I actually checked out the show. It was good. Check him on his YouTube channel for more information. I'm sorry, I just don't remember exactly like the details of the title. I can't remember. But check him out. It's good stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? It's Bitcoin. You need good sources of information. You don't want to be turning to many other sources of information. It's just like jive. You know what I'm saying? What else we got here? We got Luke Dash Jr. trolling. So why can't Litecoin be our temporary layer 2 network? Because Litecoin is a scam. That was beautiful. I had to share that with you guys. Some other things from the Briar Patch. Emoji Nakamoto. I thought this was kind of funny. Chickens can't even fly. Mind your own damn business. It's against PETA, the animal rights activists that seem to value animal life more than human life. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. I don't want haters. I can see all these people like, hey, he's talking about animals and he's an animal hater. I don't want that, man. You know what I'm saying? So let's go on to the next. Oh yeah, stop and decrypt. Ooh, we got. I think everybody got. And that whole Bitcoin error log and Chris Rose and Trish Rose, I think we all got blocked by him. And he's still in like the Briar Patch, like trying to like play it off like it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, all good. It is all good. What am I saying? So that's it. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, not only am I the nosy guy, right? So like I'm supposed to be the guy that's doing a show, so like I'm not really nosy because I'm actually covering the material. But we got in the Raul Dojo. Look at these guys. While the Rose and I are fighting with Brian Trolls and Bitcoin Error Log, these guys are like, hey, check this out. You know what I'm saying? They're the nosy guys. It's like, wait, get something better to do, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, or join the tweet and get in the fight. But like, talk about echo chamber. Woo! I love it. And there's more. Like they won't stop. They just keep on posting. Like, look what Lucas said, and look what Chris said, look what Trish Rose said. Anyway, Trish Rose is awesome, by the way. Whoever you are, I think it's Chris Rose's sister or something. I don't know. What else do we have? Oh, that's it. So, I got to keep these things short. The 2 interviews already surpassed, like, the time. So, I do apologize about not posting a bunch of things that you thought were probably valuable in the Briar Patch and whatnot. So, sorry, but that's just the way it goes. I had to keep it short. I'll catch you next time, and we're going to sign off with Tomevase. There you go, buddy. See you guys in a week or so. Hello, everyone. and welcome to another edition of Tone's Astrological Price Prediction.